What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Off the Top Rope, off the Mike Sports Network. So Collision happens on Thursday this week because they don't want to compete with SummerSlam. Let's just call it what it is. They don't want to touch that. So um, to some people, this was a good show. I mean, decent wrestling. I mean, I heard about the tag matches that happened on the show. Um, Obviously, I've already done a video, the confusing creative decision, more borderline just dumb, not borderline, just completely dumb decision to have Toni Storm and Athena face for the Women's World Championship at Forbidden Door. That's not the stupid decision. It's Athena executing her contract despite pinning the Women's World Champion. But the main event of this show and the end of AEW's run at the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago for 3 weeks over 6 shows was Kyle Fletcher taking on Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes defending the TNT Championship in a Chicago street fight. And people get the wrong idea about me and the way I talk about violence on this channel. I appreciate good high-level violence in wrestling when it matters, when it leans into the story. Like I talked about the spiked bat incident that happened in the John Moxley and Adam Copeland match on a random Dynamite that happened very recently. I was totally fine with a Texas Deathmatch, stabbing with forks, all this crazy board shit, like, crazy tables and whatnot, because it's John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. They've already done a Texas Deathmatch. They were building something to a huge blood type feud. It was in Texas. It made sense. Yet here we are, 19 days later, and Dustin Rhodes is having a street fight, a Chicago street fight, a bloodbath with Kyle Fletcher, one of the up-and-comers. And I understood what the point of this match was. It was to get Kyle Fletcher over to the next level. I don't understand why this needed to be a street fight. And then I saw what happened with this match, and this was quintessential AEW indie-rific mud show garbage. Some of the nonsense that I saw in this match, I could not believe. They had Dustin Rhodes put thumbtacks in Kyle Fletcher's trousers right around his manhood and then kicked him in the dick. Where do they come up with this shit? Like, at some point, you have got to say no. At least, like, even in some of the spots that I didn't appreciate in the Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay match, at least that was a blood feud. The fuck is this? Like, Kyle Fletcher's mad at Dustin Rhodes because he took his moment in Texas 19 days ago. But you do this less than 3 weeks after your world title match was in the main event of the show. And it couldn't main event Dynamite on Wednesday night. And yet, this main event, you do so many graphic, horrific spots, it cheapens the value of what that Texas Death Match was in that main event. Because you're doing all these garbage, mud show, unnecessary spots just for the sake to pop a reaction. And granted, some people appreciate this type of level of violence, and it's great. But when you have two guys in there, Dustin Rhodes, who just won the championship, and we knew what was going to happen, why did you need to have a bloodbath literally 3 weeks after this to do all this shit, when the reality of this is that you could have had Dustin Rhodes and Kyle Fletcher have a simple 6-7 minute match. Kyle Fletcher fucking destroys Dustin Rhodes and gets over there. Instead, you got Kyle Fletcher stabbing a screwdriver into Dustin's kneecap. You have Dustin Rhodes throwing thumbtacks into Kyle Fletcher's shorts or his trousers or his underpants or whatever you want to call it, like his trunks, and kicking him straight in the dick. Like, it's just, tables are breaking. I mean, I'll give Dustin Rhodes this. Doing a Canadian destroyer through a table off the top rope at 56 years old is fucking impressive. So I'll give Dustin his props for, doing crazy shit at his age. But this match didn't need to happen. Like, you could have very easily had, for one, why do the Kyle Fletcher's big moment, instead of doing it in front of 28,000 people, 27,000 people in Globe Life Field, the baseball stadium? You're doing it in front of 1,200 people in Chicago, hot crowd, but in front of nobody, in a minor crowd. In a nothing match, 19 days, you don't even bother to build to this. I get it. Like, the whole end goal was to get Kyle Fletcher the championship. because he was supposed to get it from Adam Cole at the pay-per-view. Then that changed because Adam Cole obviously had the health situation. But so many things that upset me about this. The spot choices in this, it's like, yeah, it's cool, it's violence, but it's like, okay, why are you doing all of this stuff when there's no story to it? That's my whole thing. Like, I got a little bit miffed at All Out last year when, Swerve and Hangman did all the crazy stuff because I thought they went a little bit over the line. But in thinking back in the context of what that feud was, I get it. You're going to go to extraordinary lengths to just fucking kill people. I get it. And AEW likes to do it in a more profound way. But the AEW has had this compulsive need to just do all of these crazy, extreme, hardcore matches when there is literally no story to it whatsoever. And furthermore, why did Kyle Fletcher need to be in a fucking street fight? Why did he need to be in a fucking street fight with Dustin Rhodes? Kyle Fletcher, we know the goal is to get him over, so why does he need to have an extended bloodbath with Dustin Rhodes, who I like? I think Dustin Rhodes is great. I think it's cool that he got the moment. But you don't give your young star his moment in front of your biggest crowd in North America ever. On that same show, you had a bloodbath, and then 19, 20 days later, you're doing a similar type match in front of less people. Not only does it cheapen what happened and sort of devalue what you did in Texas, it doesn't make Kyle Fletcher look great. Like, good, he had his crowning moment, but hey, you needed to go resort to bloodbaths against a 56-year-old man who, granted, is better than most 56-year-old men working today. But seriously, like, what does this accomplish? What does this accomplish other than pleasing the sickos that naturally will consume this garbage? Like, this is what happens when you are alienating casual viewers. And then you just do it on a random Thursday night in front of 1,200 people in a ballroom. So Kyle Fletcher gets his big moment in front of 1,200 people in Chicago instead of 28,000. You'd redo a match that you did 3 weeks ago that was one of your best matches in company history that crowned a world champion. You do the world championship match the night before this. It doesn't even main event, and yet you do this bullshit to just please a sicko fan base on a random Thursday night at the end of July. Like, what? This is why AEW is in the shithole that it is in. Because they do mindless, creative nonsense, and then they book these matches like they are a fucking indie mud show. Like, this shouldn't be stuff that you be doing on a regular basis. It has to have meaning. The violence has to matter. In Hangman and Moxley, it meant something because it was for the world title, and Hangman was fighting literally a suicide mission. And they went all out in that. But the violence mattered because the story was there. What is the story with Dustin Rhodes and Kyle Fletcher? Dustin stole Kyle's big moment at the stadium. Big deal. And you did it 19 days ago. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Like, this is so unbelievably stupid. Like, I've been critical of violence in AEW. I was critical of that Spike Bat spot. I was critical of some of the stuff in Swerve and Hangman last year. I was critical of some of the stuff that they did at Revolution. I think they went a little bit over the line because the problem is with AEW, they don't know when to stop. Redundancy, which is, like I said, Texas Deathmatch 19 days ago. And then on Thursday, at the end of July, 19 days later, you're doing a Chicago street fight that in some ways was even more, well, I mean, it probably wasn't more graphic, but they did some grotesque stuff that, like, you don't usually see, like putting thumbtacks in some guy's friggin', it's just, come on. By the way, I pray for Sky Blue. That's her man. And Dustin Rhodes assaulted his manhood. So, I just, man, I don't get this company sometimes. I really don't. Like, I appreciate good violence in wrestling, but if you're just going to do it to pop the crowd, what sense is there in that? Because now you're setting an expectation that this is what you're doing. So then the more you do it, it cheapens everything. So now how am I supposed to feel about what they did in Texas? Oh, that's a normal thing? Because now you're not going to, now you're just like, okay, it's AEW having to figure out, oh, what other crazy demented shit can we do? It doesn't have to be that way. You can tell a compelling story over weeks of television and, book 2 pay-per-views and lead to compelling reasons to do violent things and do heinous things. That's professional wrestling. This is not what professional wrestling is at its core. This is indie shit. This is stuff you see in bingo halls and ballrooms in front of 500 people. It's almost fitting that they did this match in front of 1,200 people because this is the match. This is the atmosphere that it's normally suited for. So I like Dustin Rhodes. I like Kyle Fletcher. I don't know why this happened the way that it did. Pathetic. It's pathetic and gross. So anyway, thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.